This is my 3D printed SD card box. Today I'll show it to you and then we'll test its durability. And here's a little preview of what will happen today. So this is the design I started off with. I downloaded it from Thingiverse, but there were quite a few problems with it. Firstly, the first lid I printed wasn't big enough. Even though the print is quite good quality, the tolerances were too close and I had to print an oversized one. This one doesn't line up with the body anymore, and here you can see the first one, it's really hard to screw on. Also, there were quite a few other things that needed to be improved. So I decided to make my own one and I started my first design. So this is my first design iteration. There were quite a few problems with the print. I had some quality issues, so I had to super glue it together and made a huge mess. But this one is the finished design. It has grooves on the side for better grip, and it has also an alignment system with these slots in the bottom that can align it later on a holder. So here you can see the last version and it's 3D printed on my Prusa Mark III S Plus. Also, the thread is a lot shorter than it used to be on the old version. You just have to screw it like 2 times instead of 4 full rotations. I like to use multiple SD cards for organizing my prints and having a productive workflow. Let's print quite a few more SD card boxes to organize this mess. To optimize my workflow, I cycle through multiple SD cards for multiple prints. I use 2 boxes, so I can always write on the files onto new SD cards and put them into the next box. This is a specific holder for the box on a Prusa, but it's not that well designed, but I'd like to show it to you anyways, so it can hit the printhead, and when putting it on the back side it's hard to access as the filament roll is in the way. To print this part I used an interlocking system, so it's printed in 2 parts and then glued together. The parts can interlock like a puzzle piece. They slot into each other exactly in one way. Okay, next up, here you can see my universal alignment SD card box holder. This bottom part can be copied and then added multiple times. So here we have the ultimate SD card box holder for a desktop. As you can see, I've printed quite a few more boxes, and the lid can be put onto the top side and the SD cards can be lined in which order you ever like. I think it looks quite neat and organized. And exactly like before, I can cycle through all my SD cards and then always take the next tray for printing with me. But now it's just a lot more organized. Another idea I've had with this SD card box is to make a waterproof version of it. So here I have an O-ring, and the plan is to add 1 O-ring on the bottom and 1 O-ring on the top. And the lid then can be screwed on and tightly squeezes on both of the O-rings. The grooves for the O-rings are tapered at the top side so that the O-ring will not be able to jump out of the groove. Of course, the lid has a mating surface for the top O-ring to press against. Let's print it on the new Bambu Lab X1 Carbon. I guess I need to improve the slicing profile for my Prusa Mark III, but the prints on the Bambu Lab are just incredible. They print at such high speeds with such a high quality. Here you can see another version I designed. It's just an empty box that you can use for anything, and it has the same universal bottom as all the other ones. This is just the model I 3D designed in Fusion 360. And another fact I forgot to mention yet, of course they're all printed in PETG just for the better material properties. This will be our victim for the durability test. Here's the bottom part, here's the top part. This is the state of the SD card box before the torture. I have chosen this specific lid as there's a little defect on the bottom side. The purpose of this object is to protect the SD cards inside of it. So I'll use an SD card for measuring how much damage can be prevented with the box. The SD card I'm using is just an old 4GB SD card. I don't have any use case for it anymore, so it wouldn't be that horrible if it will die in this test. I wrote a huge video file onto it, and later on we'll see whether it got corrupted by the test or not. Let's go! First up, impact resistance. There's always a risk of it getting trapped in the door. The abrasive resistance of PTG is quite good. At least the SD card is still protected. Let's finish the top part. Fire resistance just as expected with PTG plastic. Well, at least the SD card was still protected from the fire and it didn't melt. It seems like a higher caliber of weapon against this SD card box is needed. I'll use my Traxxas UDR, of which one I have cut off the rear end. You can see this in the last video. Let's strap the SD card box to the rear axle. After having survived the on-road test, now we'll go off-road. But sadly I forgot to hit record, and right on the first go over the grass I somehow lost the SD card. Luckily I found it, and here you can see it in the final state. However, no need to not have fun. Let's bash the UDR. So, the SD card is still in good shape, and after copying the video file and skipping through it, there don't seem to be any problems with the video file, so I guess the SD card box did its job quite well. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.